Auburn ID and then.
You're on the last page.
The slide and okay, yeah. Here we go. Last time I created dummy for you. Okay, you search yourself and can you see yourself? Can you click yourself? Okay, you see on the bottom groups, permissions, and the security credentials. Okay, security credential is very important. It gives you the access to run the job and access S3 storage system. So first I need you to do is manage access key. Okay, click this. Do this on your own account. Okay, don't touch others' account. Okay.
But I can't see my account.
Can you see your?
No, only there are some Y's, W,
How many people are on the same page as me? Hands up, please. Okay, thank you. Chris, you have a video.
I'm videoing right now.
So, for this guy
Download.
who are on the same page as me, you click create access key, please.
So it looks like this. Go down, and then you just go.
Download the credentials because this can be only downloaded once.
File and you hit new screen recording.
This is a CBS.cbs file. Store that file. When you open that, you'll see two entries. The first entry is access key ID. The second entry is access security key.
Yeah.
These two keys are used for you to access S3. It's like a key ID plus. Okay, this is okay. I put it here. It doesn't contain this symbol there. Key. Something like that. ID and access. Security. Okay, security key. So these are very important though. To store that because when you create once, you only can download once. So that's why I asked you guys to recreate. And okay, so have you all done?
Download credentials.
Yeah, download the credentials, please. Okay. Otherwise, you will forget that. It's very important.
We want to open it or save.
Okay. Are we good? Okay. What's the question?
Do we want to open it or save the file?
Save the file. What's your question?
Can you tell me again?
You mean this?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go back. Okay. Let me close this window. You click yourself, your user. And on the bottom, it has groups, permissions, and the security credentials. You create this, click this one, and there's a manage access keys. Right? And you click that. You click create access key. Then it will pump out a new access key. But for dummy, I can do many times. It doesn't matter. So you can download. You need to download that. This can be only downloaded once. Okay, be careful. Okay. And then when you are done this, okay, you can close window. Okay, now we need to go back to service. Okay, go back to service EC2 on the left bottom. Okay, so on the right, the entries on the right, you can see network and security. There is a item called key pairs. Have you seen that? This one? Have you seen that? Okay, left click, left click, left click, please. Okay, here are two keys. One is for dummy, one is for myself, EC2, Ubuntu. So I asked you to create key pair for yourself. Okay? This is important because this key pair is related for EMR. Okay, when you execute this, you need this. Is that clear? Okay, then do that. You click create a key pair and name use your user name, please. Auburn ID, so that everybody gets his own. Do that, please. So for me, I will do and click create. Okay, pay attention to diagram on the bottom. Do you want to open C the file called .pem? Okay, this can only be saved, downloaded once. Again, remember, only once. Okay, and then you click C, save this file. Okay, these are for your own. Is that clear? Is there any problem, or have you done?
So,
Yeah.
I got this page, screenshot.
Okay.
The one on the bottom,
Sorry,
I don't have
you don't have what?
the one on the bottom that you saved,
Yes.
I don't have that one.
Probably you blocked that, I think.
Oh,
You don't have, try it again, please. I think you should have. Can you use IE instead of Chrome or Firefox or browser? Have you had problem?
I got it. It came up and asked me if I wanted to open or save.
Okay. I think there may be some problem with your browser setting. Okay. I think it should generally speaking, it should be fine. Okay. Okay, close. Because I want to tell you this because this probably is the most basic, keys you need to get in from Minier. Otherwise, when you go to platform, you run that, these are the key. Okay, these are the basic element you need to do to run on the job on this phone. So this is very important. So I encourage all of you to do that offline. I will leave the administrative access for you by today. Okay, by the end of tomorrow, I will disable all your administration permission. Okay, for safety reasons. It's not. I don't want to make you guys mess on your accounts. So I only leave it alive by today. Okay, I will close at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, do it offline, please. Do me a favor. Thank you. Okay, now you get everything. Let's see what do we have here. Okay. Can I refresh? I think you should see your own key here, key pair here. So if it doesn't show, there may be some problem. Okay, great. We have a bunch of people here. 24. Okay. Okay. Now what do we need to do? Click Surveys. Where's S3? Oh my God. EC2.
You see the squiggle at the bottom?
I didn't say S3. It's here.
It's all the way to the right. Go to Services,
Services.
all the way to the right.
This one.
And past, it's top row, farthest right column.
Like it's cut off.
Oh, I think.
It's on all.
Okay, it doesn't show here.
What do you keep?
It's on the storage and content delivery one.
Storage.
And then it's on the top right. No, it's their little red thing.
Let me log in. Let's remember this.
Oh, go back. Go
To
the
top
Oh.
right.
Oh, it's right there.
Okay, I see. Thank you. Okay, you have access. Please be very careful when you do something on S3 because I have to give you all access to read and write for the cloud storage. So first thing I want you to do is create a bucket. Name still your username, Auburn ID please. I think you should be able to do that. Region, US standard, doesn't change this. Create. So say
So the idea behind the bucket is just like a place where you're storing everything under that name.
Did you get your bucket? Okay. So now from this point on, this you have permission to do anything. So please only work on your own bucket. Don't touch others' bucket. Okay. I noticed there is some minor difference between two accounts. I think there is only the last letter is different. So please be very careful when you use this. Okay. But anyway, you have access to. I have to grant you read and write and change, delete everything. You have a lot of permission here. Okay. So only work on your own bucket. Okay. So is that clear for everybody? You can do it often.
S3,
S3. Yeah, S3. This is a what's the full name? Historic. Oh, I forgot. 3 S words. Okay, I forgot. This is a cloud storage. It's a storage platform for everybody. You can, because it provides very neat interface. You can upload. You can download. Let's do first. Okay. First, I want you to download something. Okay. Click myaws.cu. MR. Again, this is a folder inside that. Word count. Input. See the part here. Okay, this is the input txt. You can download that. Go ahead. Sorry? What? Okay. So you go into myaws.cu. Click that. Can you enter that?
No. Go back.
You enter?
I
Okay.
right clicked on it.
And MR.
Then
Go into this directory. It's just like Windows,
I'm assuming that's what
or
you meant.
Mac, file system.
Please right click
It's
the
really file
download
system.
label and choose.
And go to word count. Input. There's an input.txt. What you can do now, you can download that. Please do a download for me, please. How you do download? Right click. It's the same as you manage on your Mac or Windows. It's very friendly user interface. You click download, and there's a download. You click. Okay. So, right. Okay. Right click download. Okay. See, right click the download and click save target as. Okay. Save on your machine, please. We will use this as an example to run a MapReduce job. Have you saved that?
Yeah,
Have you seen?
I don't know where it is.
Okay.
though. Where do you
Save.
save it?
I just saved it in the folder.
Okay. Now go to
And do it. Do that.
word count. There is a Python program called word splitter.py. Py is a Python.
desktop.
Okay. You still need to download this. Okay. Have you done, guys?
How did you get to that?
Sorry. Okay. A little bit. Okay. Is there anybody has any question?
We download the word splitter.
Yes.
Splitter.
Yes. Will you be able to download?
Hold on.
The guys in the back, go ahead.
What was the file you downloaded before that?
Sorry?
Did you download a file before that?
Yeah, I downloaded input.txt. Okay, let me go to that directory. Okay. Input, you see, in word count directory, in my bucket, in MR word count directory, under each bucket you can create your own folder. Okay? This is file folder. Okay? Bucket is the entrance. File folder is the tree structure of this file directory. Okay? And you go to my input.txt is under input. So you can download this. We will use this too, okay? Be sure you download that. Okay.
So just a quick comment, you can also upload it.
Yeah. We will upload it when we run the group. When we run the program. Yeah.
This is just for the purpose of an example demonstration of how you use software.
Now I need you to create a folder on your bucket named word count. Can you do that?
On our
Yeah, your own folder, your own bucket. Let's see. The first topic is bucket. Let's bucket. Your own bucket, okay? Is for me is XZQ0003. Go to this bucket. You create a folder, because this program we call it word count. WC, if you want to make it simple. Create a folder called WC. Inside WC, I would like you create a folder named input. Okay, input. Do that, please, on your own bucket. Okay. Have you finished? Inside input, you can do upload. Try to see whether you can upload. I would like you to upload input.txt, the one you downloaded a minute ago, to this folder. Do that, please. Upload. Let me do this. So inside this folder, you have action, upload, right? So it's very neat. It's very friendly, right? Okay. So you upload, you can choose your file. Add files, and search that and open, and then when you're done, you just see start upload. Right? Okay. So have you done that?
Wait, what do we do?
Okay,
After you make the bucket.
So just one quick comment.
Make another folder inside
For
of
what
that.
we're doing today in class, we're definitely doing small examples.
Yeah.
But the main idea behind using cloud storage and using AWS is when you start having big files. So we're just trying to do an example so that when we run it, it takes a couple of minutes at the most. But you might have examples when you run it, it takes a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So just keep that in the back of your head. If we wanted to do a real demonstration in class, we might have had you guys from now till, 4 p.m. And I think you might have other plans. So,
Okay.
Oh man.
So pay attention to this structure. You can put this directory in your own bucket, right? MapReduce function will read input from this directory. Okay. This name must be input. The input data, what you guys call, or you want to practice big data, whatever, 1 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes, it doesn't matter. The name needs to be input.txt. Okay? So we put it here, and it will,
So this is another important point. So files can come in very different structures. And you need to make sure, for the purpose of using AWS, to have it as a TXT extension.
Okay.
So if that's become the problem, we can talk about how can you convert from from a CSV into a TXT. There are options like that, and we can talk with you guys on that if you have any questions.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for now, we have idea how to create a bucket, how to manage S3, right? By the way, you can also delete this. When you think it's a mess for you, if you create multiple examples and you want to delete it, you are free to do that. But keep your bucket. Okay? Keep your bucket. Keep this one. Okay? Do that on your own bucket. Okay. Now we are trying to use EMR. This one, we are going to this one. Okay. How to run MapReduce job. Oh, wait, 1 minute. You have the word split downloaded or uploaded, word split. .py. Do not open that file. Do not edit that, because if you are on Windows machine, there might be a problem. I can, show you how to edit that on Windows machine, either if you have a virtual machine or you download a software package called Notepad++. Notepad. I think it's Pad or Notepad++. This one, it doesn't change anything inside the file, because this Python file maybe, or TXT, especially this program file, may be written under Linux environment. When you open that, you use WordPad, right? Microsoft. Mac, I don't know. I didn't try that. So for Windows, there might be a problem. I'm sure about that. So you use Notepad++, this editor on Windows or Mac.
Notepad?
Notepad.
Note?
Note. Sorry. Let me search it for you, okay? Well, this is very handy. This software, I mean.
It's Texas or Mac?
Let me show you what's the name.
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to share you some useful software. So. Thank you for the correction. So this one is a little frog. Okay. It's very good. This one. Well, is it frog? I don't know. It's like frog. I bet it's not a frog.
Lizard, maybe?
Chameleon.
Okay. You guess. Have fun. Download. Okay. Use this editor to write your own program. Okay. If you are on Windows machine, or you can write your program on Linux. Okay.
In what language?
Well, it depends. It can be either C++, Java, or Python.
Okay.
So it really doesn't matter. It depends on what you feel very comfortable with. An example I show you is written in Python. I will explain it a bit.
So computer science, the new fab, if you will, is Python, computer science, and none of us used that before. So if you're familiar with C++, you can do that. But Python is not a hard language to learn. And for the purpose of this class, this is only going to help when you're writing the MapReduce functions. So we can have some basic things online that can help you, right? Because we're not going to be doing anything which is extremely novel. Our innovation is going to be using existing tools to data mine large data sets from an engineering setting, and how can we get more information from there. So do not overstress about that part.
Can I ask probably a stupid question?
There are no stupid questions here. So,
Where exactly are we going with this?
so the idea behind today
Okay.
is to make you comfortable to open Amazon, and if you want to data mine a large file,
Okay.
this is how you do it.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do today is just make you aware of how the process works. You could have run that on a Hadoop kind of structure, but you can also run it like virtual on a cloud.
Okay.
But the idea is not to make you code that stuff, but just to have seen it, have understand it, and kind of increase your understanding of how that actually works.
So from a procedural stance, you have a bucket, like you create almost like a project for a bucket, and then you have the program file that runs the function or whatever, MapReduce, whatever,
Yeah.
and then you have your input data that goes into it. So like input, then however you're going to run it, and then the project that you're running.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So let me give you a few. Well, this is a very simple example though. So this is a program body. You can see that. Can you see? How can I? Go ahead.
Copy it and put it more.
So are there going to be two Python functions, one for the map, one for the reduce?
Yes. Two functions.
Is the word splitter, that's the map, I'm guessing?
Yes, because the reason is that this is. Give me 1 second. Okay. There are two. Yeah, he's asking. There are two functions. How many functions are there? Okay. Actually, he's correct that there are two functions. Okay, but in okay. So I'm not going to teach you Python, okay, because I'm not good at that. So you see, this is the function definition. It's function body. This is the entrance of this main function. So in C or C++, you have main, right? You can define a lot of functions outside the main function.
So how many of you use C++?
How many you see?
You're not, yeah.
Shell, bash.
Okay, so in these kind of, so MATLAB is a little bit different. You don't run compilers, you don't see that. But when you're using like a C++ environment, you have to compile the function, and MATLAB essentially does that for you. So yeah, that's going to be a different kind of a software environment, less user-friendly, I would say, compared to MATLAB.
Yeah, MATLAB.
Let's use it for
Yes. Okay, let's go ahead. Well, it's not that hard, right? Okay, so what it does is that we read the file from input, and the pattern is defined a search pattern. The first letter is capital small little a to little z start from little a to little z or capital A to capital Z. The second character is little a to little z, little a to little z, 0 to 9. And that doesn't care about the rest of the words, okay? So for each line, right, so you read the text file. Have you opened that input.txt?
Yeah.
You can open that on web. It's just a bunch of, I pasted this anywhere from Wikipedia. So for each line, for each word, pay attention to this. Print word.lower this long value sum. This is something you don't need to be. The first two is like key. The second one is like value. So what map does, what this does is that you have a text file, right? So you scan each line, you scan each word, you eject what? For example, if the word is I am a person, okay, you eject I, 1, am, 1, a, 1, person, 1. So what it does is that you have an input file. You assign a value 1 for each word. The word defined here is a pattern A to Z, the first word, the first character. The second is A to Z, right? 0 to 9, and doesn't care about the rest of that. So it could be, I don't know, it could be like a C, A, blah, 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 blah. It's like that, right? You get an idea, right? From the last class. So after this phase, you have everything, every word, and the count, right? 1 is count for each word. Of course, you may have double them. You may have multiple, like AM here, is still 1, right? You remember last lecture? This is probably on one machine. It may happen on other machine, okay? It could be, I don't know, AM1 person 1, right? So this is how map does. When you run this program, the map will emit the key pair, okay? In the low level, it's called key pair. This is key, this is value. It doesn't has any relationship with this value, okay? It's a key pair inside the MapReduce infrastructure, okay? Key value. This is a map. When map has all the output, it will shuffle the key pairs with, this is not it, AI is not. Shuffle the key pairs with the same key, pay attention, to only one reducer, okay? Suppose this is reducer 0, reducer 1, reducer 2. So all these will go to reducer, they call it. Person, let's assume that it will go to reducer 2, okay? So what the reducer does, aggregate them. With the same key, they aggregate them, okay? Is that clear? Have you got how it works? Word count is very simple. I mean, it's very easy for you to understand. So after reducer done, reducer should have some output like person 1, 2, right? So for R0, it has AM 3, right? Person, how many person? Here. 2. How about the people in the back? Okay, great. You got the idea, okay? So that's really how it works. So I'm just jump a little bit into details.
So this is not extremely different than MATLAB in the sense that you have to define the word you're looking for. So in MATLAB, you can say, I want that variable to be double. You can say, I want it to be string. I want it to be something like that. So in terms of Python, you have to define what a word is. And that's in essence what the first step is doing. What a word, how does it look like? And then what the next step is, we're going to take what we define to be a word, and we're going to count it individually. Yeah. That's in essence kind of the big picture. And that's what I want you, so going back to Chris's question, the actual Python language is not something that we necessarily care too much about. You might want to know a little bit about it, but it's kind of how that process works. We're looking into defining what a word is, and then once we define it, we want to count each word individually, and that's what we're doing on the map part. Then we can group them, so depending on how you're writing your own code. So let's say you found a piece of code online, or you have a computer science friend, or you learn that. So you can group that, you can start doing some of the aggregation before going to a reduce, like Dr. Weichmann explained yesterday, Tuesday. But you can also, from our simple standpoint, let's just do that in the reduce.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're only going to have 2 functions. We're not going to have 3 or 4. So we're going to group, and then we're going to reduce.
Yeah, and also, the instructor gave a very important point. Where is the reducer function? Well, in this case, we don't. It can be written as a thing, but we don't need to do that because the AWS provide a bunch of very useful interface. So you can just write like aggregate, because what reduce does should be the same. So they read this and they do an aggregate for the same key, right? For the same word. But they have aggregate function embedded in the AWS. So in this case, they don't really need the reduce function. But how you specify that? Let me show you an example how to run it. Okay, this is only map function. Yeah, because thank you. You pointed out very important information here. Okay, this is Python. Well, I don't want to you guys struggle with this on the class. Okay, so let's go back to where's my ID? Okay, service. Elastic map reduce. We are here, okay? Okay, there is an instance that I played with, so terminated. Okay. Well, at 21, you see, I couldn't run anything. 21st, see, it's my fail. So, but after that, I got it correctly. So, it's the 12. Okay. Yeah, these are correct. Okay. So let's do this. Create new job flow. Click this. Job flow name, use your own account, please. Again, if you want to create multiple, just plus dash 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah.
Elastic map reduce.
Okay, use your own account so that everybody, are safe. Hadoop 1.0.3 Amazon distribution. This is the version you can choose. Normally, well, you can choose the latest version, or if you prefer stable, you probably choose the previous version. 0.20 probably is the most stable version. Run your own application. Okay, you can try simple application offline.
So
this time I want to run your own.
Do you know what is meant by a stable software?
Beta
So
tested.
in open source software, or when you're playing games, they do updates. And usually the updates, the purpose behind them is to fix bugs or to improve the efficiency of a certain software.
Adding more features.
And or adding more features. So what Shinyo was meaning by stable, this is probably the one which is the most tested, and it's going to be kind of a really standard. There's not going to be too many bugs which we have. So, it's an open source. The open source is you can kind of, I work on it, and then Shinyo works on it, and then someone in Virginia works on it. And the idea behind these kind of software is you're really utilizing people in different times, and you're essentially doing what they're called crowdsourcing. You're using different users that they don't know to improve on the features of the program.
Thank you for the clarification. So, the job type you really want to run Hive. Okay, what is Hive? Okay, Hive is high-level query interface built on top of MapReduce. It's especially used by Facebook for managing its database. Okay, you guys all use Facebook, right? So it has they have a HBase. HiveBase is a application on top of MapReduce. Okay, now here we run MapReduce. Okay, Customer JR. I don't know what it is. Pig is another one, same as Hive, used by Yahoo. HiveBase, well, the HiveBase and Hive probably they are the same. It's a different level. Okay, so they are more high-level, application. So you really want to focus on streaming. Okay, streaming means when you finish one job, the result can be reused by another MapReduce job. Okay, so you don't need to do input or output to upload again. So you can write two MapReduce programs one after another. When this one finishes, you can run another one. So this terminology is much more much more sophisticated or advanced for for the user who just get familiar to AMR. Okay. You click continue. Okay, now you got your input location, right? So what is your input location? Does anybody has answer? Okay.
Word count.
Okay.
Word count.
Word count. And the input needs to be a folder. Under word count, I asked you create input, right? Under input, you put everything there, right? Okay. So the input location should be the directory where you put your input data, which is input.txt. So it will be your username, right? And the word count you create it, just enter here, okay? For me, okay, let me. Where is I have it. Go back.
Oh, it's the bucket. It's not the whole thing.
I know that.
Is it just the bucket name, not the whole thing?
Path.
Path. Okay.
You know path?
Yeah.
You know file system? You know path, right? Okay. Good. Somehow I forgot my. That's not good. I forgot my bucket. Sorry. And the same thing for the output for the map function. Did you say map function on that web page? I need to check my bucket.
So this is not any different from MATLAB for MATLAB users. When you're running a .m file, you have to be in the same directory. So that's in essence the same kind of structure. So this is like an M file. We just need to make sure we're in the same directory so that you can press run for F5.
Oh. Okay. So. Okay. So it would be like this, because my input file is under input directory, right? So you put your path to the input directory. And output location, this is very important. The output location needs to be the same, the path, but the output folder should not be exist. Okay, is that clear? So what you will do is you will put here. You will still put in your word count here, right? But you want it to something new, okay? So the folder should not be exist. When you run the first time, you specify output. When you run second time, you specify output -1, or you delete the output and specify another output. Otherwise, you will have problem.
Can you replace an existing file? Like, if we already had an output one, could we tell it to put this input on top of that output one and replace the existing output one? Or do you have to put it on a completely new location?
You have word count location, right? I think I need to make it clear so that everybody will not be confused. So the current bucket is, for me, XZQ0003, right? This is my bucket. I have what? Word count, right? As you guys. So what I suggest is that you create each folder for each program. For example, you want to run your own program, you just name it. For example, grep. Grep is find certain, strings. It's like grep. You search certain strings, okay? Or you want to do something else. I don't know. Time graph. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you. So in these folders, okay. So I said you must have an input folder where you put your data, right? You must have your program. It's .map.python and reduce.python. It doesn't matter, right? The output, before you run, you need to specify output. I would suggest you put output inside this so that you can differentiate the output of different program, right? That's the easy way to manage. And before you run, the name of that folder still needs to be output. You cannot, create output before you run. If you want to specify, your output will be generated inside the folder. Okay? If you already have output, here you must specify a different name folder which doesn't exist in this part. Is there any question? Clear, right? Which means in the output, you have to specify a folder in this path, right? But inside this path, the folder you specified here should not be exist. Okay? And okay. And then we have a mapper. Mapper is a mapper function, right? Where you put it is in word count. What's the name? Right? That's simple. Or you can specify anywhere. But I would like to suggest you do this. It's very easy for you to manage, right? It's nothing, And again, the input, okay, the input folder name must be input, okay? Must be input. And reducer will, in this case, you can just put aggregate here. So, well, the reducer function as I showed before is just aggregate this same word, right? Okay, then you can put continue. Okay, here instance, well, you see the instance type is a small, which means the configuration or the hardware is not that powerful, so you pay less money. If you go to cluster or bigger one, you pay more money. Okay, this is the kind of thing the Amazon how charge people.
So this is kind of an important concept. It's a complementary concept to what we're doing, but it's really important to think about. So in industrial engineering, when we think about demand, we think about two different types of demand. If you have a steady demand, then you can say I can account for that, and I'm gonna have a certain capacity to meet that demand. If you have a very highly fluctuated demand, typically you either are going to have a lot of capital investment, which is not usually a very good idea, or the other alternative is to kind of meet that very fluctuating demand, you're going to outsource. So this is kind of essentially outsourcing some of your computer power. So the reason Amazon Web Services became very famous and it's used in a lot of countries is because if you have a very fluctuating demand, you're going to have some computer capacity that is going to carry most of the load, but then you're going to react to that fluctuating by essentially renting computing space. So this is kind of an explanation of how much computer space you want to rent. And you're doing that because you're not going to run that every day. So that's kind of a good way of overcoming that. And it tends to become cheaper than investing in a lot of computers to match that. Does that make sense?
And you see instance count. This means how big you want your MapReduce cluster is. Because you run MapReduce job, it could be run on 2 machines, 3 machines, 10 machines, 50 machines, or 100 machines, right? So this is, well, you can choose 2 or 3. Again, if you choose more, you pay more compared to choose less. Right? but you get more powerful, right? You can run the job very fast. Okay, so
And I tend to believe that you pay per hour in Amazon Web Services. So if you're renting, you can think about it as an optimization problem. I'm using more computers to do more time, but if your time is less than an hour, you're not saving anything. So you're paying that hour anyway. So you're not paying per minute or per second. So that's kind of the framework for how they make money.
and this framework is very slow compared to because it's Amazon encapsulated MapReduce. It's not the raw MapReduce. So I noticed the running job on that is very slow. I don't know why. Probably some problems, some reasons there here and there. Click continue. Okay, keep here, right? This is the keep here. Choose your own keep here, please. I will choose mine. So this is very important. Okay, if you don't have keep here, probably you cannot run. Well, this is the S3 log path. I would suggest you put your, still put this directory here. So log can be generated inside this word count directory. So when you open that, you can see, the log for the reduce and the map and blah blah blah. Okay.
Jay, can you explain what a
Didn't
log
you
is?
see?
Okay, log is something. Well, when the program is running, right, you really want to output something to monitor whether the program is running normal or has bug or stop, right? So log is but this is a very, very generic, way people how to, debug the code. With the log here, they know what's the problem and where the bug is. Hope that helps. It's not an output, okay? It's a log, which means when you write programs, you embedded some, printf or redirect your system status to some file where you save as logs. So it's very easy for you to debug if it has a problem. And enable debugging, well, I don't want to choose yes because it's too long. You can choose yes. If you enable debugging is choosing yes, you can detect your task. Okay, see the picture of the tasks. Let us do not choose this one because we only have 4 minutes. Oh, where is it? Oh, it doesn't show the full page. Okay. How can I click finish? Is that continue on your page?
Yes.
What if it's frozen? Can you hit refresh? Or is it just
If you hit tab 5 times, then you'll get there, and then hit enter. Just click in the Amazon S3 log path, and then hit tab 5 times, and then hit enter.
Tab?
Because then it'll
Okay. How many?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter.
Okay.
Oh,
one more?
one more.
Okay.
Never mind. Just
This
click
one,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This one doesn't change. Leave it as what it is. Okay. I don't use that. Okay. I thought. Okay. So continue. Okay, still tab. Okay. So now you should have everything here. You will check your input, output, word split, file. This time tab doesn't work. Okay, create job flow, try. Don't click close, okay?
Nope.
Don't click close. Click view my job flow. Oh, okay. Can you check the job flow to see whether your job is submitted or not?
I don't have one.
What is the previous page?
The previous was
Yes.
create job flow.
Yes.
Yes, and I
And
said
there's like a close.
it was closed, and then there was the drop down, and I hit the drop down that said
Oh, drop down,
view,
okay.
the view.
Okay.
Maybe I will go back. Okay, so continue
Streaming.
streaming.
Is there anybody see your job? No? You're
It
here?
just says fail.
So while Shinio debugs, I want to take 2 minutes of your time, kind of big picture, get back to the real world kind of concept. So have any of you created a website ever?
On iWeb.
Anyone did use HTML?
Middle school.
Okay, so even if you use HTML middle school, there are 2 ways you create a website. One way is you choose an existing website and you start making modifications and you start learning the code from there. Or you can learn HTML and then create the site from scratch. So I want you to think about today's experiment as the first approach. We're going to use an existing Python. You don't need to know anything about Python. But we're going to use an existing algorithm and implement it for our purposes to create our data mining, big data project if you want to, or to just be able to understand how big data works. If you want to learn Python on your own, that's something you can do. But I'm saying for the purpose of what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you the ability to look at Python code, maybe change the 1 to 2, and that instead of making you look at 1 word, look at 2, or being able to understand if you do that, well, would it count the word twice? So we want you to have some of that basic understanding, and that's in essence what we're trying to do from today. Does that make sense? Yeah, maybe.
So we're gonna have a specific assignment that
You may have an option, so we're going to give you options. If you want to do like a AWS thing, you're going to have a specific assignment, but you can choose
Nothing.
not to do it and do something.
Mine says no job flows.
Me too.
Well, last thing I want to mention that the demo you can find, I think Chris has a
Oh, how do you
video,
get
right?
that?
You can post it on
My
the-
job flow is starting.
Okay. Oh, starting?
Mhm.
Okay, great. And you guys can read the PDF file. It has a full demo of this process. I think that will be very helpful. Okay. But if you have any questions, just post on the Piazza.
So David just asked a great question. When is it going to be beneficial to use AWS? So when you're talking about
You can
data
click
set
here,
gigabytes,
click this job, and
this is when you use
monitor it. Oh,
So,
steps.
so instead of running it like for 4 or 5 days on your
Pull it down,
laptop,
pull it down.
you get the
Here,
results
here.
in an hour.
Okay.
And that's what we're
So
trying
check your input. No. You should put word.com input, not input.txt. This needs to be a folder. Okay.
Terminate.
And output. Okay. Output input. Okay. Yeah. This needs to be a
Script.
folder. Yeah. Okay.
So you succeeded in running the job?
No. I'll go back and redo it.
Mine failed.
Can I see your steps,
Streaming.
if you don't mind?
Oh, I just turned it on.
Okay, okay, no problem. So it's more or less like you're setting the input-output Python file
Right.
that fails. That incorrectly makes
That-
your job fail.
The Python, was that one incorrect?
Yeah,
No,
can show
I
you.
mean-
Input.
I'm saying that you most likely you're setting the input-output and the mapper. That step you have some problem. So you can go to steps, see?
I saw it was just like by appointment. Okay. Okay.
This is your input, right? Input.txt is under this directory, right? This is Python, right? This is the output, right? Are you
Do I then?
Oh, wait.
Hold on.
Is it this and then input.txt?
No, just input. Only in the
Well, how
folder.
does it specify? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, just this. You put input.txt under input directory.
Right.
Is that clear? You specify input only the directory. You don't specify specified file.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Output.
How do I change something?
Sorry?
I see what I did wrong. How do I change it?
Oh, you cannot change it. You have to create new. Yeah.
And the mapper is word count.
Word split. Yeah. Is the capital or not?
Okay, well.
Oh, I don't know. You need to check.
I don't have word splitter in here.
Oh, you didn't put. Oh, you have to put a Python on the word count.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, you have to put a
Create
Python.
folder.
No, well, you can just directly upload to this bucket. Well, it doesn't matter. You create another folder, story, or program. It doesn't matter.
How do I? So I can get actions.
You can get
Upload?
actions. Yeah, upload. Upload Python under word count directory. Okay. Where you did it wrong? Where you did it wrong?
I didn't.
This one, I suggest you put it under WC directory instead of input directory. Okay, that will be, you know.
And the reducer is aggregate.
Yes, aggregate.
I'm gonna send you an email.
Yeah.
Kind of like some.
No. Okay. Let's do this. Click input.
But
Right click word split. Cut.
And go back to here.
Yes. Paste. Right.
And how does it know? All right, so this is
Okay. So let me understand. Input.txt is under input, right?
yes, it is.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
positive. Yeah.
Okay. This one.
That doesn't exist,
Okay.
but yeah. And then
This is under
exists.
word count. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But
Okay.
how does it?
How many files inside input?
One,
Okay. Great.
I think.
How what? What's your question? Say your question.
Input.
Click input. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Yeah.
no, this is quick. So when you have the for function, it just needs more coding.
Okay. Have you changed your name? Job name? He used my job. He didn't change the name.
I did the same.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how they
Okay.
started.
my bad.
Now, like a lot of.
Fail or what?
No, it's still working.
So, but like, originally, I've never read the basic idea behind it was thinking of how
Sophisticated, right?
to do that. They wanted to have
I spent 3-4 hours to get the first to run.
Yeah.
Then I spent a day or two to get the.
Are there any good ones?
Through command line, build my own image and then launch on clusters.
Oh, really?
And over EC2, over S3, not Amazon E. I just downloaded. I have to build my own image and do it. That's even complicated.
I just try to read copy like say, oh my god, it's like who is this? You know, like the way they write it.
Failed.
That's the point.
What's the problem?
You can buy it so far. Yeah.
Word count.
You know what I mean? You're like,
Oh, see, these are different. See, 0,
Oh my
0, 2,
goodness.
0, 3. See, you need to be very careful. How about yours?
For us,
Still starting.
like this one. We have student makes a difference.
like 100 hours.
Is passionate. That is literally another
Ah,
I got it.
pending. You're sure? You're positive about the directory, right?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, this one I think you need to be input.
Input.
This one, your input.txt needs to be inside directory called input.
But my
Like this.
Yeah.
It is there.
Huh?
It is inside there.
But what you specified is different. Let me see it again, please. This is input, right? So input. Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
the folder.
Okay.
you don't have to be
Failed?
implementing
No.
this half time.
Still nothing.
2 minutes. Well, it's very slow. I mean, it's take less than a minute, less than a second.
I was just at this point. It was that
Did it try?
I'm messed up again.
No, this is
Um,
log. This is.
But this should be good. I'm just make sure I have
Mine just
everything.
says starting.
Well, you can.
Word
I don't
count,
know your path.
output,
Your path.
splitter,
That's
splitter.
3 part.
Okay, that should be right.
How can I get it?
Great output.
You create a bucket, right?
Yes.
So the bucket, the folder under the bucket.
That was input.
No. It's called your Open IDE,
Yes.
and
Okay. And then,
I don't know how you created word count or WC or blah blah blah.
well, it was on. It was here.
This is slow.
Yeah. She's been running for like 2 minutes.
Two folders with the same.
Starting.
Yeah, it's not starting very quickly.
Gets to a certain point, how would it decide which one?
Did you get guys the big picture
You
from
need to
today?
specify
Yeah.
one. You need to
No?
differentiate. You can't specify.
Not so much.
Okay, so what we did,
so far was we did 4 things. So, or 3 I guess. So a week ago, I kind of told you what MapReduce is in a very general terms. This is kind of what we're trying to do. We did an experiment to kind of try to give you some intuition about how distributed file systems work and how
I think
MapReduce.
firstly the defines
Yeah, so so that was, and then next class we went into more details about how it works and kind of, talk more about the structure, the visual, and how can you make it faster, and some of the issues in MapReduce. Today, the idea was to give you some understanding of how you actually run a MapReduce and see how it runs. In essence, it could be, your feeling about this could be, in my interpretation, the same as your feeling about image processing last semester. In the beginning, you don't know what you're talking about. What we're trying to make you reach is to be basic understanding of how that process works. And part of that basic understanding comes from having running it, having debugged it, having knowing how it really works.
Okay, what's the difference between EC2, S3, and EMR?
S3 is storage, EMR is what we run MapReduce on, EC2 is elastic computing, whatever, I
But
don't
we're
know.
running MapReduce on S3 right now. Oh, no, we're not. This is EMR.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
That
That makes sense. S3 is the storage. So
Yeah.
when we
So,
when
if
we
you're-
go to like run, when we go to run a project, we store it so that we have all the stuff we can need to access. Then we use EMR to just access all that stuff.
Yeah.
Boom. Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
So if you have like a 50 terabyte file, you're not going to put this on your computer, it's not going to fit. So you store it, and then you access it from EMR, and you run whatever kind of processing you want.
Is there a way
very careful, on Windows machine or
to
Linux
have a
machine.
continuous
I think
upload
Windows should be
from
fine.
a data source to S3?
I'm not sure.
I mean, if you're not a guy,
Is
You
it
probably
cloud?
you probably can web mine something and then have that to
Yeah,
send
if
it
you
there,
read
but I'm
that
not sure.
menu PDF I posted yesterday, that has
Alright, let's
that's
stop
the
this.
spec of how it runs.